Hi, I'm Violeta, 28 years old, happily married, or so I thought, and expecting our first child. Everything seemed perfect until my mother-in-law, Diane, decided she knew best. You look tired, Vi. Sleep any better? Marco asked, handing me coffee as I waddled into our kitchen. Your son thinks my ribs are a punching bag, I replied. How can I sleep when he's training for the Olympics in there? Marco touched my stomach. He's strong like his mom. And stubborn like his dad, I smiled. The doorbell rang. I heard Diane's voice before seeing her. There's my boy. I brought those pastries you loved. And where's my daughter-in-law? Diane swept in, designer purse swinging, silver hair perfectly styled. She air-kissed my cheeks before setting down a bakery box. Violeta, only a week to go. Marco was 2 weeks late, you know. I was miserable. I'm feeling good. I sipped my coffee. Doctor says everything looks normal. Her smile tightened. Normal is good, though you should have found out the gender. We wanted to be surprised, Marco interjected. Well, I have a feeling it's a girl. Speaking of which, have you considered Diana? Family names are so important. I glanced at Marco. We have names we like, but we'll decide when we meet the baby. Of course, Diane waved dismissively. But remember what I said about family traditions. Mom, Marco said firmly, we've got this covered. Diane's expression flickered. I'm just trying to help. First-time parents need guidance. 3 days later, my water broke at midnight. By arrival at the hospital, contractions were every 7 minutes. We called ahead, Marco told the nurse. Violeta Santos, 39 weeks. We have a room ready. Who will be in the delivery room? Just my husband, I said through pain. And me, came Diane's voice. I'm the grandmother. Mom, how did you… Marco texted me. Diane patted his cheek. I wouldn't miss my grandchild's birth. 8 hours later, Dr. Chen suggested Pitocin. This will strengthen contractions, she explained as the nurse hooked up IV. It might make them more intense, but should help dilate your cervix faster. Marco had stepped out for food, leaving me with Diane, who'd somehow convinced nurses to let her stay. Pitocin? Diane questioned. In my day, we let nature take its course. Dr. Chen thinks it's best, I explained tiredly. These doctors are so quick to intervene. It's all about freeing up beds. I closed my eyes to rest. When I opened them, Diane stood by my IV pole. What are you doing? I asked drowsily. She turned, startled. Just checking your IV. It seemed too fast. The nurse came in. That's strange. The Pitocin drip has stopped. She examined the line. It's been disconnected. Did you move around? No, I've been lying here, I said. But my mother-in-law was checking the IV. The nurse looked at Diane. Ma'am, did you touch the IV line? I might have brushed against it, Diane said dismissively. But not intentionally. After the nurse reconnected it and left, Diane leaned close, voice low. Marco isn't ready to be a father. He's still building his career. This baby will change everything, not for the better. I was buying him time. You deliberately unplugged my IV? I merely delayed things, she whispered. This pregnancy was your idea. Marco was happy with just you two. He told me so. Marco returned with a sandwich. Any progress? I looked between his mother and him, shocked into silence. She unplugged my IV during labor, I told Emma on the phone, glancing at my sleeping newborn. Said Marco wasn't ready for fatherhood. That's criminal, Vi. Where was Marco? Getting food. He doesn't know yet. After they restarted the Pitocin, everything happened fast. You have to tell him, Emma insisted. What if she was right? What if he told her he wasn't ready? Even if Marco had doubts, what she did was dangerous. This isn't about feelings, it's about safety. A knock interrupted us. Nurse Patel entered with a woman in a suit. This is Miss Rivera from administration, she introduced. About yesterday's incident. Miss Rivera stepped forward. Nurse Patel reported an irregularity with your IV. Could you explain what happened? I recounted everything, including Diane's admission. Where is your mother-in-law now? With Marco in the cafeteria. He doesn't know what she did. Tampering with medical equipment is serious, Miss Rivera explained. It endangered both you and your baby. Would you provide a statement? What would happen to Diane? That depends on whether you press charges. At minimum, she'd be banned from visiting you. I need to talk to my husband first. After they left, I texted Marco. Come back alone. He entered, looking concerned. What's wrong? Where's Mom? I asked you to come alone. Is she waiting? He nodded. You're scaring me. Is it the baby? The baby's fine. But your mother unplugged my Pitocin IV while you were gone. Marco's face went blank. What? Why would she? She said you weren't ready to be a father, that she was buying you time because this baby was my idea and you were happy with just us two. She said you told her so. Marco paled. I never said that. Ever. He ran his hand through his hair. She actually unplugged your IV? On purpose? The nurse and administrator were just here. They asked if I want to press charges. Against my mother? What she did was dangerous, Marco. He stood abruptly. I need to talk to her. Marco, I believe you, he said quickly. I just need to understand why. She did it because she doesn't respect me as your wife or our child's mother, I said flatly. She never has. That's not fair, isn't it? And now she physically interfered with my medical care during my most vulnerable moment? Let me talk to her, Marco pleaded. There must be an explanation. The explanation is that your mother is controlling and dangerous, I said coldly. I don't want her near our son. That's my mother, Violetta, our child's grandmother. And I'm your wife. Who comes first? Before he could answer, Dr. Chen entered with a man in a suit. This is Mr. Patterson from security. There's been an incident in the waiting room. What incident? We asked simultaneously. Your mother was caught attempting to enter the nursery without authorization, Mr. Patterson explained. When questioned, she became belligerent. The nursery? My heart raced. Was she trying to get to our baby? The infants were never in danger. Our protocols prevented unauthorized access, but she claimed she had every right to see her grandson and tried to push past the nurse. Marco sank into the chair. This doesn't sound like my mother. Furthermore, she made concerning statements about the baby's parentage. What did she say? I demanded. She stated she wasn't convinced the baby was her son's and needed to see him herself to be sure. When told only parents or authorized persons could enter, she became agitated. I turned to Marco. Still think there's an explanation? Mrs. Santos is with security, Mr. Patterson continued. Given this and the previous incident, we need to know how you wish to proceed. Marco stood. I need to see her. I'll take you, Mr. Patterson offered, but she's quite upset. After they left, Dr. Chen approached me. We can move you and the baby to a different floor under a pseudonym. Is that necessary? Just a precaution. I nodded. Yes, please. 30 minutes later, in the new room, I was nursing when Marco returned, face ashen. Well? I asked. She admitted everything, unplugging the IV, trying to access the nursery, questioning if he's mine. His voice cracked. And? She's not sorry, he said, bewildered. She believes she was acting in my interest. Says I wasn't ready, that you trapped me. Is that what you think? Of course not. You know how much I wanted this baby. I never gave her reason to think otherwise. Then why would she believe that? Because she's never cut the cord. Marco ran his hands through his hair. She can't accept I have my own family now. So what happens now? Security banned her from the hospital. If she returns, they'll call police. He hesitated. They're still asking about pressing charges. I looked at our son. What do you think I should do? It's your decision. She put you both at risk. If you want to press charges, I won't stop you. But you don't want me to. Marco sighed deeply. She's my mother. Despite everything, she's family. So are we, I said, nodding toward the baby. Your first responsibility is to us. I know that, Marco insisted. And I choose you both. but charges would mean a permanent record. It would destroy her. She nearly destroyed us, I countered. What if something had gone wrong? Emma interrupted, peeking in. Bad timing? Perfect timing, I said. Meet your godson. Emma entered, accepting him as I transferred him to her arms. He's perfect. Congratulations. Thanks, Marco said, forcing a smile. I need coffee. He kissed my forehead before leaving. When the door closed, Emma turned to me. What's going on? You look miserable. I filled her in on everything. That woman needs serious help. And boundaries, Emma said. Marco doesn't want you pressing charges? No. What do you think? Emma asked. She needs to face consequences, I said firmly. She could have hurt our baby because she can't let go of her adult son. Emma nodded. Then that's what you should do. Marco will come around. And if he doesn't? Then you have bigger problems than just his mother, Emma said gently. 3 weeks after bringing our son home, I met with Miss Garner, the hospital's patient advocate. The DA believes we have a strong case for reckless endangerment, she explained. Mrs. Santos's actions created substantial risk to both you and your infant. And she's admitted doing it deliberately? Miss Garner nodded. According to security and Nurse Patel, yes. What penalties would she face? For a first offense, likely probation, community service, a fine. The DA might request a restraining order. I glanced at Marco, sitting silently beside me, withdrawn since I'd decided to press charges. Would she have a criminal record? He asked quietly. Yes, Miss Garner confirmed. A misdemeanor. After she left, Marco and I sat in tense silence, the baby monitor humming between us. I know you're upset, I finally said. I'm upset with the situation, Marco replied flatly. A situation your mother created, I pointed out. I know, he snapped, then looked contrite. Sorry, this is hard. I keep trying to understand how she could do something so irrational. Because she sees me as competition, not your partner. Marco looked at me sharply. That's not... It is true, I interrupted. She's never accepted that your life with me is separate from your life with her. Marco was quiet. She called again today, apologizing, saying she wants to make things right. Did she apologize for what she did? Or just for the consequences? What's the difference? Marco asked wearily. All the difference? If she's only sorry because she got caught, nothing's changed. She wants to see the baby, says she's his grandmother and has a right. She lost that right when she endangered his life, I said firmly, and questioned his paternity. Those aren't actions of someone who should be around a newborn. So she's just cut off forever? No second chances? Second chances are earned, I replied. Has she shown any real understanding of why what she did was wrong? She's not a monster, Vi. She made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting an appointment. What she did was deliberate. That's not a mistake. That's a character flaw. The baby monitor lit up with cries. At the doorway, I paused. I know she's your mother, but our job is to protect our son. Right now, your mother is someone he needs protection from. 2 days later, Miss Garner called. Diane had accepted a plea deal, probation, fine, community service, and a 1-year restraining order. The restraining order doesn't include you, I told Marco. You can still see her. The doorbell rang unexpectedly. Through the peephole, I saw Diane. It's your mother, I said, stomach dropping. What? Marco hissed, holding the baby closer. The restraining order isn't official until tomorrow. Violetta? Marco? I just want to talk, Diane called. I turned to Marco. What do you want to do? He looked torn, then handed me the baby. Take him to the nursery. I'll handle this. I retreated, but left the door cracked to hear. Mom, you shouldn't be here, Marco said firmly. I had to come, Diane replied, trembling. They're saying I can't see you or the baby for a year. I'll miss everything. His first steps, first words. You should have thought about that before unplugging Violetta's IV and trying to break into the nursery. I was protecting you, Diane insisted. You weren't ready. You said you wanted to travel more. I never said I didn't want a family. Marco cut her off. That was your interpretation. I made a mistake. But I'm his grandmother. Can't Violetta forgive me? For the baby's sake? No, Mom, he said firmly. What you did was unforgivable. You endangered my wife and son because you couldn't accept I have my own life. But there are no buts. The restraining order becomes official tomorrow. Violate it, you go to jail. You choose her over your own mother? Diane's voice turned accusatory. I'm choosing my wife and son, Marco replied evenly. My family. If you ever want a chance at being part of our lives again, respect that choice. I heard the door close, then footsteps approaching. Marco appeared in the doorway. You heard? He asked. I nodded, rocking our son. Thank you. Marco wrapped his arms around us. Thank you for being strong enough to do what needed to be done. I should have set boundaries years ago. What happens after the restraining order ends? I asked. That's a year away, Marco said. Maybe she'll get help, maybe not. Either way, we'll decide together what's best for our family. I leaned into his embrace. Our family, I repeated softly. That's what matters most. As our son opened his eyes and yawned, I knew we'd made the right choice. Sometimes the hardest boundaries are the most necessary ones, especially when protecting those you love. So here's my question to you. What boundaries have you had to set to protect your family? And would you have pressed charges if you were in my shoes?